We are live.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the March 18th meeting of the East Hampton Town Board. Carol, would you please read the roll call?
Councilwoman Burke Gonzalez,
Present.
Councilman Lees,
Present.
Councilwoman Overby,
Here.
Councilman Bradman,
Here.
Supervisor Van Scoyac.
Present. Please join me in saying the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United
United
States
States
of
of
America,
America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
God,
indivisible, liberty and justice for
liberty and
all.
justice for all.
Today's meeting will begin with Mr. Hugh King, who's here joining us as town historian. That'll be followed by a public hearing. We'll have a public portion where any member of the public may address the board on any topic, and that'll be followed by resolutions offered by council people. So welcome, Hugh.
Well, thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I watched the last meeting on LTV, and it was so impressive to hear you report on your investigations. The enthusiasm that everyone has taken to this really shows up on the screen. So I really want to thank you for doing it. Okay, now we can't talk about anything else after March 5th and 6th except Stephen Hand's of Stephen Hand's Path. Okay, Stephen Hand supposedly gave the town leave to put a highway through his woodland, 12 feet wide, but only for carts, oxen, and yoke, for a ride or to lead a horse, not to drive cattle. Well, where did this Stephen Hand's Path eventually lead? Northwest Harbor, okay? And now people don't realize this, but Northwest Harbor was a very, very busy place. In fact, Mrs. Rattray in her book says that whale oil and bone and local furs were shipped out, horses went to the West Indies, timber and cider were brought back from Connecticut. Abraham Skellinger and Samuel Fishhook Smolford both had warehouses down there. Northwest Harbor was busy. But what happened when whaling was going to become prominent? Why didn't they use Northwest Harbor, Supervisor Van Scoyac?
I think there are probably a couple of reasons. I think it had to do with the Customs House in Sag Harbor and also deeper waters, larger vessels, deeper waters.
Yeah, the water at Northwest Harbor was not deep enough for the ships that they were going to use for whaling. Okay, so the other thing about Stephen Hand's Path and March 5th and March 6th, I met a member of the Havens family there. Now we know that the Posey Lesters were an important fishing community. The Edwards family in Amagansett, I'm going to talk about in a minute. But the Havens family, Fred Havens, Lindsay Havens, and Billy Havens, the ones I knew, were fishermen. So while we're in the waiting period after the vaccination, I gave a short talk on Northwest Harbor and Stephen Hand's Path. Now, I wasn't prepared, so the next talk will be longer, and that'll drive everybody certainly out of there in 15 minutes. And now the last thing I want, two other things. You know, we're talking about an historian for Wainscott, and we of course mentioned Dennis DeAndrea, but there's another person who would also be an outstanding historian for Wainscott. Hillary Osborne
Malecki.
Yes, absolutely. And when I'm gone, that would be the next perfect person to be the town historian. Dennis is too old. All right. You hear that, Dennis? Okay. And then one more thing, and now I'm leaving. I talked to you about Iantha Edwards McMahon, I think when she was 100. Well, she's passed away at 102. Now, I don't think too many people in East Hampton, or natives of East Hampton, lived to be over 100 or 102. She may be one of the oldest people to ever die, who was a native of East Hampton. She was a member of the Edwards family, the Edwards fishing family in Amagansett. But just as important, she was on the 1934-35 East Hampton High School basketball team, girls basketball team that was undefeated and won the championship. And they are in the East Hampton Athletic High School Hall of Fame. And finally, if you thought football practice was tough, you weren't in Iantha McMahon's math class. Okay. She was just pressing and pressing and pressing. You were going to pass. You were going to pass. You could bring your homework to her house over the vacation. And here's the Jimmy Nicoletti story. Now, I don't know which one of it's true, okay? They're all out on the Herrick Park playground practicing. The JV, the varsity, the coaches. And on the Herrick playground, there's a little hill before you get up to the main part of the playground. And up the hill comes Iantha. Everybody runs and hides, including the coach. Okay. But Harold McMahon told me she was actually looking for Jimmy Nicoletti. So I don't know which one of those two stories is true, but that's Iantha. Okay. Next time, could you all develop a question for me?
Okay.
Okay. For our next meeting?
Is there any subject matter you wanted to focus around, or is it?
Let's get out of Wayne Scott.
Okay.
The supervisor took care of that for us anyway, so. We'll get out of Wayne Scott, all right?
Okay.
You got it.
Very good. Thanks so much, Hugh.
Thank you all
Always
very much.
appreciate it. And by the way, if you're going to give historical talks in the observation room at our vaccination center, please keep the 15 minutes. We don't have a log jam and block the whole place up. I'm
Absolutely.
quite sure that people would want to listen to you all day long. So we will provide a special room where you can give a lecture over there.
Thank you.
Great to see
By the
you.
way, wait a minute. That was an unusual day. Don't let anybody tell you you can just set up a vaccine site right away. What an operation that was. And you know what? Loretta and I never felt alone all the time we were there.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Hugh. I have to say it's a tremendous amount of work to put that together and to run it. And it wouldn't be possible without the support of the board and all the volunteers and community members who make that happen.
Absolutely.
Really a wonderful thing. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on now we have a public hearing. Carol, if you would please read the roll call. I'm sorry, the notice, following notice.
Please take notice that pursuant to section 247 of the General Municipal Law and Chapter 16 of the Town Code, the Town Board of the Town of East Hampton will hold a public hearing on Thursday, March 18th at 11 a.m. or as soon thereafter as the same may be heard, to hear comments of all persons wishing to be heard concerning the following grant of scenic and conservation easement to the Town of East Hampton. The grantor is 294 Abraham's Path LLC. It's a scenic and conservation easement dated February 17th. The location, 294 Abraham's Path, East Hampton, Suffolk County Tax Map 300-149-231. The reviewing agency is the Planning Board. Due to the public health and safety concerns related to COVID-19, the Town Board would not be meeting in person. In accordance with the Governor's Executive Order 202.1, the March 18th meeting of the Town Board will be held via video conferencing, and the transcript will be provided at a later date. The public will have the opportunity to see and hear the meeting and provide comments. The public can watch the live meeting on local TV channel 22 and live online from the public meetings link on the LTV website. If any interested members of the public would like to provide comments on the public hearing, comments can be called in during the meeting at a call-in number to be provided hereafter and on the town's website and displayed on the live feed at the time of the hearing, 351-888-6531. I think it's 6331.
631, yeah.
That's a
6331.
misprint. Pursuant to the requirements of the executive order of the governor of the state of New York, a transcript will be prepared of the public hearing and a copy shall be filed with the town clerk and placed upon the town's website, and comments will be accepted in writing by the town board to be received by email to at ehamptonny.gov or by mail to the town clerk, 159 Panago Road, East Hampton, and actually received by close of business on March 25th, or 1 week after the posting of the hearing transcript, whichever is later. Please check the meeting agenda posted on the website for any changes to the instructions to access the virtual meeting and for updated information.
Thank you very much, Carol. Michael, do we have any callers on the line for
Yes,
this hearing?
we have one caller on the line. I'm not sure what they're calling about. We will open them up. The last 4 digits of this phone number are 8960. I'll unmute that now.
Hi.
Morning. Are you
Doesn't have
calling
anything to do
about?
with the-
I'm sorry, caller. Are you calling about the
I'm
public
sorry.
hearing that we currently are having, or general
No,
comment?
I'm sorry. We wanted the public portion.
Okay, we'll be
We
back to
wanted
you
to
in
ask
just a
a
moment.
question.
Just stay on the
Yeah.
line, please.
Thank
We'll
you.
get to you first. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So at this point, not having any callers, comments regarding this hearing, I'll entertain a motion to close.
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried. And Michael, if you could go back to our caller for public comment.
Yes, I'll unmute that caller again.
Yeah, hi. My name's Ken Hicks. We rent a place in Montauk in September for the last several years. And last year, I think because of COVID, the bathrooms at Gin Beach and Ditch Plains Beach were closed in September earlier than they ever had been before. And we were wondering, will they be open through September this year? Because we really won't be going.
Beach and we need a bath.
We won't be going. Can't rent without them. So, at this point.
I don't think we can definitively state that they'll be open. We'll certainly make every effort to do so, to extend them to the normal time period. Obviously, that will depend on kind of situation we're in with the pandemic, and certainly our hope and I think expectation that we will be able to return those hours to normal.
Do you know when you'll be able to make the decision?
And how late they usually stay open.
So, again, we're going to have to, review the situation. I wouldn't want to commit at this point in March as to what the hours would be for the restrooms there in September, at the end of the season. Again, I think our interest would be in trying to return to the normal hours.
And the normal hours were like through September, right? Or am I correct?
I'm not exactly sure what they are at Gin Beach, to be honest. I know it differs from location to location. If you'd like to
Typically, they
send us-
correspond with lifeguarded hours, and the lifeguarded hours were decreased this year, but we did increase it by 1 week. But it typically does go to the end of September. Mr. Hicks, I can follow up with you with that specific information.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling.
Okay. Thank
Be
you.
well.
What was that?
Welcome. Do we have any other callers on the line at this time, Michael?
Yes, we have a caller with the last 4 digits, 8764. I'll unmute that caller now.
Good morning, Town Board. It's David Buddha. I have a comment. I was listening to the announcement that the town clerk read before the prior hearing, and it reminded me that there seems to have been a change in procedure that I don't understand. You're holding public hearings pursuant to an executive order which requires the posting of transcripts, and I assume that's because, as the notice that was read today by the town clerk, it's to give people an opportunity who can't participate in the usual fashion or even through the alternative methods currently available to provide written or email comments to the town clerk so that the town board can receive them and consider them before making a decision on the matter that's before you on a public hearing. when COVID started and when meetings resumed using video conferencing, your procedure used to be to specifically state at the end of a public hearing that people would have 2 weeks after the posting of the transcript to submit comments. That may have been overly liberal. I believe the requirement was then noticed for 1 week after the posting of the transcripts. The last couple of public hearings have been noticed have not had a specific time period for people to comment after the posting of the transcripts. And I noticed that you have 2 resolutions today planned, number 394 and 395, to adopt law changes to Chapter 155 and 185 based on a public hearing that was just recently held last month, I believe it was, and the transcripts for those hearings, I'm sorry, the hearings were held on March the 4th. It was just a few weeks ago. And the transcripts for those 2 hearings are dated March 16th, 2 days ago, which means they could not have been posted prior to 2 days ago. Obviously, the public cannot comment and submit comments, and you receive them and review them before making the decision on those matters, which did involve a lot of public interest and public controversy. So I'm wondering if someone could please explain what has changed and how you believe you're ready to proceed on those particular public hearings today with the transcripts just having been posted 2 days ago.
Don, you want to answer that for us?
Yes. So
Yes.
I did know about this and asked John yesterday
Yeah.
whether or
The,
not everything had been done properly. So John,
I'll respond. Yeah. Basically, the provision for commenting after transcripts were posted was a courtesy to the public based on the beginning procedure where we had a lot of uncertainty about the Zoom meetings and how they would work and the public's ability to use them. But there's no requirement in the executive order to leave the hearing open at all after the hearing ends at the published notice time. Other towns, at least the few that I had checked with, didn't provide any provision after the fact to allow people to review transcripts and comment. We started out using 2 weeks. It was reduced to 1 week for some hearings, and in recent times we've not included the provision to allow comment to come in after the hearing is done on the Zoom meeting because the statute doesn't require it, and it has caused a significant delay in getting things completed. So the executive order didn't require it. Some other towns were baffled by the fact that we even considered doing it in the first place, but we thought it was a courtesy to the public because some people were having issues getting onto the Zoom meeting or hearing, but that seems to have ironed itself out pretty well over the last year. So that's why we're not providing for an extension of the time to comment beyond the close of or the end of the hearing on Zoom, at which point we'll close them from this point going forward. At least that's my understanding as to how we have agreed to proceed. We're still in compliance with the executive order.
That raises the question of the reason for and the rationale for having transcripts and expending funds to create transcripts, to post them, and then for no purpose at all, because no one can possibly do anything with those transcripts in the court in 2 days. So
no, that's something that I can't tell you. I can't tell you what the governor's office was thinking when they enacted the executive order, but it's certainly not in the order that it's required. I don't see any requirement. If you can find it, point it out. That would be fine. But I've spoken with several towns, other towns on the East End and further west, and frankly, I haven't found a single one that keeps the hearings open after the hearing date. Everybody closes them and they post the transcripts when they're available, but they don't post them to allow for further comment. The notices are published just as they were for prior hearings when we weren't doing a Zoom meeting, and people are allowed to come on and give their comments. And that's really all the executive order seems to provide for. I think if the town board feels that there's a topic has some controversy and they want to leave it open, they certainly can. But I'm not seeing the requirement that they do so.
I agree, John, that the executive order is silent on a time period. So your practice of original practice of providing 2 weeks and then 1 week was very public minded and considerate.
Right.
But you really have to wonder whether what's going on now makes any sense.
Yeah, if I can just jump in with a quick comment. I trust John's judgment on this. And I remember we spoke about this many months ago, and I remember him saying it was kind of ambiguous as to what we were supposed to do. But I do think on just a common sense level, leaving the hearings open until 1 week after you post the transcript makes sense. It's not particularly onerous on the town, and it would give folks a chance to come in and comment in writing, which I do think is suggested by the fact that we're required to post transcripts. I just think it would increase transparency and give people a little bit more access, so I would favor it. But again, I'm not disputing the legal advice that you just gave, John. I think it's accurate.
I can't really explain the thought process and the way those EOs were written, especially since there's frankly not even any timeline for when the transcripts go up. I mean, frankly, if it goes up in a day or it goes up 6 months later, it doesn't seem to violate the executive order, which I have to agree doesn't make a lot of sense to provide that requirement, and then there's no further guidelines as to what the purpose is. So
we have had some trouble posting transcripts, I know, but we're getting better at it. But I would urge my fellow board members to follow the more open practice and leave it open for another week. I don't think it hurts us, and it helps the public.
So are you talking?
We did actually create that process. It wasn't a requirement, and initially, as John said, and David acknowledged, we did start with a 2-week period. I think when this open meetings law was suspended and we moved to a different type of format, there was concern about public engagement and involvement, and we went above and beyond. And frankly, I think due to the excellence of our local television network that broadcasts every single meeting, everyone has an opportunity to not only watch in real time, either live streamed on a YouTube channel or on demand. Also, these get rebroadcast. So I think by the time a transcript gets published, there's been quite a period of time where members of the public could send us an email or call us or make further comments. So, I think we've done an exemplary job, frankly, of engaging the public. You look at the screen right now, and you'll see that there's a crawler that has on the TV the number to call right now to make your public comments known. So, I think we've had actually greater engagement from the public during time of COVID, maybe because people have a little bit more times on their hand being shut in. Or just the ease of participating and calling in rather than to have to appear in public. And I suspect that the open meetings law will actually be amended to allow for a hybrid form of meetings going forward, because I think everybody recognizes that this actually works and may work better in terms of public participation than the previous method of having to show up on a weeknight to a board meeting when other people are trying to, spend time with their family, help their kids with homework, whatever. So I think things are going actually pretty well.
So Jeff, are you concerned about this particular, which is about the leaf blower? This is the legislation that I think David Boot is talking about today.
No, I know there is a lot of interest in the leaf blower legislation. I think it's probably a lot of support. No, I'm just talking generally. I think it doesn't, as I said, I don't think it's particularly burdensome on us, and it's helpful to the public. That's all. It's not directed at any specific piece of legislation.
So I guess I need direction on what, it's in the packet today. It's under my resolutions to approve. So there are two resolutions. One is establishing 155 as a landscaping section of the chapter, and the other is redoing the noise chapter to accommodate the leaf blowing legislation. So are you prepared to move forward with that today?
Yeah, I am. I'm just suggesting to the board members that we consider maintaining, a 1 week period after we file these transcripts. I just think it's helpful to the public. And I do agree that there's, being able to see the transcript is a way, that somebody can become informed who didn't participate in the hearings. I agree that our television production has been terrific, and LTV deserves a lot of praise for that. I don't think that our public participation is what it has been if we were meeting live. I think there's been some drop off, but that's
not actually what the statistics show. That we've had much more participation in hearings and in meetings.
I haven't seen no statistics. I don't know what statistics.
It's a significant increase, so we can circulate that to you. I think that's important for people to understand.
Well, if we are going to change it, I think we should announce that we're changing the practice. And since we haven't announced it prior to this, it may make sense to.
We can take the topic up.
Withdraw those two resolutions and bring them back on April 1st. And, and then decide what our practice is going to be moving forward. I mean, to Peter's point, the fact that all of our meetings are videotaped, and I think, going to the tape, and you can do it on LTV's, site, their YouTube site, you can stream it, you can, they repeat, as Peter said, to me, if I want to hear what happened in a meeting, I go to the meeting, I don't go to the transcripts, right? I roll the tape. But since we haven't said we were going to do that moving forward, I would agree.
I think we can discuss this at a work session. I don't think in the instant case that was brought up that, we had that hearing 2 weeks ago. It was not controversial, other than maybe some people felt we should take even more greater steps in the direction that we're headed with this legislation. There didn't seem to be any opposition vocalized once we enact it. We may hear from people who are maybe unaware, but we've already been 2 weeks. Normally we would just close the hearing the night of, unless there was public comment asking for the record to be held open. So, we've already extended the period of time for public comment just by virtue of waiting for the transcript to be posted. And I honestly don't know who reads the transcripts, to be frank. Maybe some people do. But I think it's probably a practice that we need to do in terms of posting, excuse me, David, posting the transcript. And I'm glad you read them, David, and they still will be available. But I feel quite confident that you not only read the transcripts, but you probably watch every meeting and every hearing anyway.
So I would just like to say, I'll do whatever the town board wants to do if you want to vote on these today or if you want to pull them. But, there is a group of folks, landscapers, that would like to know and move forward so that they can prepare for this coming season. And if they're now having to wait, if they feel that they need to wait until this is voted on, they're up against other folks that are going through the same thing and trying to get these, the equipment ordered and delivered. So I'm going to suggest that we do this in the name of both all the comments that we got, but also for those that are in the landscaping business that need to have a definitive idea of what to expect this season.
We're not talking
That's-
about an inordinate amount of time. I think Kathy's suggestion is sensible.
Well, it's another two.
I was going to say, I thought Sylvia's argument was reasonable.
Why don't we just wait? Why don't we just wait till the resolution comes up and then we can discuss it further. At this point, David, you still on the line?
I am.
Okay, do you have any other comments before we move on?
Yes, on a totally unrelated topic. It's a question for the board, but I think really probably it's for Mr. Julnicki. I know that there's no regular means of providing a status report to the public on ongoing litigation, but I have been following one case, and you have today scheduled a resolution to continue into 2021 paying for outside counsel on a case that's quite interesting and quite old, and probably it's close and dear to Mr. Leese's heart, because it comes out of the ZBA back in the time when he was involved. In the Gerbino matter, I'm wondering if Mr. Julnicki or someone can enlighten me as to the current status of the matter. I'm aware that the ZBA decision was challenged in Article 78. The trial court, the Supreme Court, overturned that decision, and then through your outside counsel, that was appealed successfully, and the ZBA decision was reinstated. And then in December of last year, the Intermediate Appellate Court decided and ordered and denied granting leave to appeal that decision. I do believe that there's an opportunity for a litigant to go and ask the Court of Appeals to take the matter up, although doing so is discretionary. So I'm wondering whether or not that case is finally over, or whether it is in fact before the Court of Appeals.
I'll verify with you by email, David. I believe it's over. I'm not sure. I think their time has run, but I would need to double check and make sure. I think we're kind of done with that one, but I'll check and I'll shoot you an email. That's okay?
Okay, and if it is done based on the December 21, 2020 decision of the Appellate Division's Second Department, I'm just wondering why we are continuing to engage counsel.
We would only do that if there's a potential for them to go ahead with the Court of Appeals. That's why I need to double check on the time frame. Because if it's done, it's done. I don't think that, but they might still have time. So let me double check and I'll let you know. In which case, that would just be it would be a PO that would stay open, and we wouldn't use any of that. At some point, we would close it out.
All righty. Well, and anyway, congratulations on the outcome of the case, at least as far as the Appellate Division.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. Like them all to be that way, but not having to go that high. If we could help it from now on. I'll let you know.
That's it for me today.
Did I? I'm sorry?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David.
Thanks,
Be
David.
well. Michael, do we have any other callers on the line?
No, we do not.
Okay, at this point, I'd like to move forward with resolutions. Kathy, you have resolutions to present?
I do, starting with Resolution 2021-371. It's approval of the warrant claims total for 2020, $290,700.72. For 2021, they total $982,278.95. The utility warrant for 2020 totals $118.38, and for 2021 totals $40,893.77.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried.
2021-372 is to amend Chapter 141, Fire Prevention, Article 2, Administrative Provisions, Section 141-9, Permits. And the Town Board is considering an amendment to the Town Code, Chapter 141, Fire Prevention, to revise the permit schedule set forth in Section 141-9, Permits, to add certain additional permits and to include a provision for fees for such permits that can be set from time to time by resolution of the Town Board. If you'll remember, we discussed this 2 work sessions ago.
Second.
And the public hearing, the public hearing would be Thursday, April 1st at 2 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried.
2021-373 is to appoint Ryan Burns as an active Class A member of the East Hampton Volunteer Ocean Rescue for calendar year 2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
2021-374 is a status change from part-time to temporary for Christine Gowdy with no change in hourly rate or budget account effective March 9th, 2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
375 is to accept bid EH 21-010, supply and delivery of food service and kitchenware items. And that goes to Lodging Kit Company, Mibula Foods of New York, Sam Tell and Son Inc., and APCO Paper and Plastics Corp.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Resolution 2021-376 is to authorize payment of 2020 invoices for the tax receiver and town clerk offices.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Passed and carried.
I'm so sorry about that. I'd like to offer resolution 2021-377. This is a bond for $33,000 for ball field improvements. The PPU on this is 15 years.
Second.
Can we have some discussion on this, please?
Sure, go ahead. Jeff?
David, do we have the plan, is the plan completed for the ball fields at this point?
This is actually not for the reinstallation of the ball fields or for the Little League ball fields. This is actually for all the other current ball fields in town that do maintenance seeding on the fields.
Oh, okay.
It's like overseeding and aerating on those properties, the soccer fields that we just did before over there, or in Montauk, various other places. This is not for the relocation of the ball fields.
Okay, thank you very much. I wasn't sure about that.
You're welcome.
We have a roll call vote, please, Carol.
Councilwoman Burke Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilman Lees,
Aye.
Councilwoman Overby,
Aye.
Councilman Bragman,
Aye.
Supervisor Van Scoyac.
Aye. Passed and carried.
I'm sorry, let me just roll down here. I'd like to offer resolution 2021-378. This is for land acquisition. This is the scheduled public hearing for real property acquisition and amended 2021 M&S plan. The purported owner of the property is Regina Cherry and Una Dora Copley. Location is 438 Hands Creek Road, East Hampton, tax map 300-118-1-6.2. The purchase price is $750,000. I would like to make a change here, just make it amended in two sections. The public hearing will be on April 1st, 2021, but it will be at 2 p.m., not at 6:30. That's in the current resolution.
A second is amended to 2 p.m.
Mine says.
It's in two
Mine says
places.
two also.
No, it further up under B, it says 6:30. It's
Oh,
in two
right,
places.
right, okay.
Yes, okay. So we have a second as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Passed and carried.
I'm also going to make an amendment on this one. I'll just read into it. 2021-379 is Cherry and Copley, a scheduled public hearing for CPF project plan addition. Again, this is for the Cherry and Copley property at tax map 300-118-1-6.2. The public hearing will be April 1st, 2021, but it will be at 2 p.m.
A second is amended.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
Thank you. 380 is appoint part-time recreational aide Anita Supan Posnick at an hourly rate of $15 per hour, effective March 18, 2021. I think there is going to be two people on here, Mackenzie Bennett and Anita Supan Posnick. So she aides.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
2021-381 is appoint part-time harbor master Charles Abney. This is part of the East Hampton Town Police Department's Marine Patrol Division at an hourly rate of $25 per hour, effective April 1st, 2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
382 is appoint harbor master to Marine Patrol Richard Bish. That Richard Bish he's now hereby appointed to full-time position on harbor master. He was reachable on that list. The hourly rate of $25.52, hourly $53,077.44. for a 40-hour work week upon submission of records effective April 1st, 2021. Congratulations, Joe.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried.
383 is appoint additional lifeguards to preseason training for 2021 effective March 18, 2021. This will be Nina Piazantine at $16 an hour and Mary Kate Ryan at $17.50 an hour.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried.
2021-384 is to reappoint David Doty to the CPF Advisory Board, where his term ended in March of 2021. We like to hereby reappoint him as a member of the CPF Advisory Board through March 23rd, 2028.
Second.
All
Congratulations.
in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried.
2021-385 is a status change from part-time to temporary for Brittany McVitie, where the Civil Service has approved a 30-day temporary position for Ms. McVitie, effective March 15th, 2021 through April 15th, 2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried.
2021-386 is the amended CSEA Schedule A added groundskeeper 2 that will reflect that additional groundskeeper 2 at grade 15 with a starting step hourly rate of $19.95 for a 40-hour work week.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Like November 10th, and the public hearing was already held. The town board believes that the second house and barn has characteristics specified in sections 255-7-25A2 of the town code. The second house and barn has special characteristics, historic and aesthetic interest and value as far as the cultural, economic, and social history of East Hampton, embodied in distinguishing characteristics of an architectural style, building type, period, and method of construction. And because of their unique location, represent an established and familiar visual feature of East Hampton. The second house and barn therefore qualifies for this designation as an historical landmark.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried.
I just want to thank the board for voting on that and the support on that. It's as we've discussed that it was I don't know, I want to say it was a flaw, but it was just overlooked. And I thank the board for supporting and listening to that and all the support of the individuals in Montauk and the Montauk Historical Society. Long time coming.
Yeah, David, thanks for discovering that. I think everybody was operating under the assumption that one of our most historic buildings in town was already under that designation. So thank you for taking up the cause and getting it to this point. So we have a second.
And we voted. We're good.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Moving on.
2021-388. This is a change order number 1 for EH 20-034. This is for piling replacement at various locations. The change order is for $4,369.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried.
Resolution 2021-389 is to schedule a public hearing and notice a public hearing for Jockle Grant of Scenic and Conservation Easement. The grantor is Margaret and Jesse Jockle. It's a scenic easement and conservation easement at 30 North Surfside Avenue in Montauk, and the reviewing agency is the Zoning Board of Appeals. The public hearing will be on Thursday, April 1st at 2 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried.
Resolution 2021-390 is to retain outside counsel Devitt Spellman Barrett LLP in the Garbino versus Town of East Hampton. This is to payment to said counsel shall be $200 per hour in the amount not to exceed $10,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried.
Resolution 2021-391 is to accept a road widening easement for urban renewal parcel 10 in EH4. This is for James Kim, care of Biondo and Hammer, and it is at Harborview Avenue in East Hampton.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried.
Resolution 392 is to accept road widening easement in urban renewal parcel 11 in EH4. This is for Mary Ellen Kim, care of Biondo and Hammer, and this is also on Harborview Avenue in East Hampton.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried.
Resolution 2021-393 is to accept security for 2 14th Street Urban Renewal Parcel 107 in SP2-2. And this is for Oscar Butrago. Hope I'm saying that correctly, an amount of a cashier's check for $14,400.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried.
Resolution 2021-394 is to adopt new Chapter 155 Landscaping and Gardening. This is what has to do with our the leaf blower provision, and I'm offering that today. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Just have discussion on that. I want to just partition my vote, John. You tell me how to appropriately do this. I vote aye in all sections of this, except for section 155-6, section B. And that would be the purposes of reducing noise from May 20th to September 20th in a year. Shall be in, you can't operate them on Sundays for homeowners. I agree with every other part about this legislation except for just adding homeowners into the gas-powered aspect of Sundays. I think that's something we can scale up at a future time. I'm just being consistent with what I'm saying. So, John, is there any specific language, or does that suit?
That's essentially a no as the statute's written, so.
Okay, so that I'll go nay, but that is my reasoning why to the board and the public.
Okay.
Thank
All
you,
right, thank
David. So we have a vote here. We have Davidson a nay. All else?
Aye.
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 Carried.
Okay, thank you, and thanks, David, for your concerns. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, no, all good.
2021-395 is to adopt local law to amend Chapter 185 noise, and this again has to do with the leaf blower provision.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
Resolution 396 is Regano additional fees for the Manor House. This is by Resolution 121 in the year of 2021. The town board authorized Regano to employ subcontractors in the amount not to exceed $50,000. Resolved that Regano LLC is authorized to hire subcontractors to assist with the Manor House air quality tests and submission to the Attorney General's office in the amount not to exceed $59,000. $50,000 has been previously already authorized, plus $9,000 additional here.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
Resolution 2021-397 is a budget modification for sanitation from one budget line under subcontractors in the amount of $25,000. We are moving to budget line for testing and fees in the amount of $25,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
Resolution 2021-398 is also a budget transfer for the Community Housing Opportunity Fund from one line under land purchases of we're moving $10,000 to repairs, general repairs in the amount of $10,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. Thank you, Sylvia. Jeff?
Resolution 399 is to extend contracts that we've already bidded for 2 additional one-year terms for each of Montauk Printing, Ridgewood Press, and Effects of Color. These are in connection, I believe, with Justice Court forms. And I don't think I need to detail each aspect of the work.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried.
All right. Resolution 221-400 is a budget modification from the airport. We are adjusting funds in the amount of $2,700 from small tools and equipment and moving them into office expense in the amount of $2,700.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. Resolution 2021-401 is a bond for $95,000 for sidewalk improvements.
Second.
Carol, could you do a roll call vote, please?
Councilwoman Burke Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilman Lees,
Aye.
Councilwoman Overby,
Aye.
Councilman Bragman,
Aye.
Supervisor Van Scoyac.
Aye, passed and carried. 402 is a bond for $300,000 for drainage improvements.
Second.
Roll call vote, please, Carol.
Councilwoman Burke Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman Lees.
Aye.
Councilwoman Overby.
Aye.
Councilman Bragman.
Aye.
Supervisor Van Scoyac.
Aye, passed and carried. 403 is a bond for $445,000 for road improvements.
Second.
Councilwoman Burke Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilman Lees.
Aye.
Councilwoman Overby.
Aye.
Councilman Bragman.
Aye.
Supervisor Van Scoyac.
Aye, passed and carried. 2021-404 is to retain Sokoloff Stern LLP as special counsel on Sunrise Hut Hill 2021, and that is not to exceed amount of $100,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried. 405 is to retain Dan Rezzo, Whiteman, and Osterman Hannah LLP counsel, 3 Mile Harbor Protection 2021. And that
Second.
at an hourly rate of
Sorry.
$320 and $160 per hour for Supreme Court division, and that proposal is dated January 4th, not to exceed $30,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried. 406 is a budget modification for civil defense that is moving $2,500 from contingent other to civil defense in the same amount.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried. 407 is authorized payment for translation services for Anna Kessler in the amount not to exceed $225.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried. 408 is authorized payment. Duncan Weinberg Genzer Pembroke invoice for town attorney's office for 2020, and that is in the amount of $6,888.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried. 409 is the notice to bidders, EH21-013, supply and delivery of Hino truck parts, 2021 bid, available March 18th, 2021, and the bid is due back on April 8th, 2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried. Let's see. Resolution 410 is the notice to bidders, EH21-014, supply and delivery of international truck parts, 2021. The bid's available March 18th, 2021, and due back on April 8th, 2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried. 411 is to extend the contract EH19-013, annual contract for portable toilets, rental and servicing, Call Ahead Corp. and Outback Portable Toilets Incorporated. And that is effective May 9th, 2021 through May 8th, 2022.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passed and carried. 412 is to authorize agreement with Esri ARC GIS maintenance, and that would be for an amount, several amounts. It's $900 for the above services for 5/24/2021 through 5/23/2022, and the budget would be paid in the amount of $675 from the A fund line and $225 from the B fund line.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried. 413 is Fire Island Montauk Point Coastal Storm Risk Management Project. And this is basically the PPA resolution that would resolve that the supervisors hereby authorized to execute the local project partnership agreement between the state of New York and the town of East Hampton for the Fire Island to Montauk Point New York project for coastal storm risk management and any other necessary documents subject to the approval of town attorney. This is the next step towards finalizing agreements. There will be further discussions with the Army Corps and State DEC and working out the local partnership agreements. And I'm happy to state that we had a productive meeting yesterday with the DEC and the Corps, making clear that dire need for this project to come to Montauk as soon as possible, and we're working to try and move up the timeline ahead of what was recently proposed. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. 414 is to adopt public employer health emergency plan, which we discussed at our last work session. And that's resolved that the town board of East Hampton finalizes this plan and directs the clerk to post the finalized plan conspicuously, as well as adding it to the town handbook and the town's website.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. 415 is to adopt the town of East Hampton's police reform and reinvention plan. And this resolution the town board hereby accepts the town of East Hampton's police reform reinvention plan as proposed, and directs the supervisor's office to prepare the final plan for public distribution and filing with New York State prior to April 1st, 2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. I want to again thank all the members of the committee and all the community members who responded to the surveys, as well as giving us your comments. Appreciate that. 4-1 passed and carried. 416 is determination regarding the CSEA contract. And this was actually the arbitration concerning an issue with the contract. And this is to resolve that the supervisors hereby authorized, reading the wrong page. This is regarding grievance that resolved that upon careful and thoughtful consideration for the reasons set forth more fully in the town board's determination, after advisory arbitration, the town board hereby accepts the advisory award in part and rejects the advisory award in part. Be it further resolved, the office of the town supervisor shall transmit a copy of the town board's determination after advisory arbitration to the CSEA president.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. 417 is to authorize extension of contract at Evil Software, and that is in the amount not to exceed $990. Services paid from the A line, $742.50, and from the B line, $247.50.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried. 418 is to retain the law firm of Picano and Scahill, PC, New Singular versus Planning Board 2021. To resolve that counsel for Picano and Scahill will be paid at a rate of $200 per hour, not to exceed $20,000.
Second.
All in favor? Also,
Aye.
there's a compensated rate for Kelly Wright, Esquire. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passed and carried. Are there any other resolutions?
Yes, I have an additional resolution 24032. This is actually for a payment for Gabrielle truck sales bills totaling $290 to be paid from budget account DB 5130-54560.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, David. Any further resolutions to offer?
I have a comment I'd like to make, Mr. Supervisor, if I may.
Sure.
It's come to my attention that we recently had a COVID cluster in town hall. In a town workplace, not in town hall. I misspoke. And it just seems to me that this kind of information should be disclosed to the public. Not with the specifics, not with names, not with any kind of breach of confidentiality, but just the fact that we've had some COVID cases in town workspaces. I think it informs the public, probably would affect our discussions about policies. I noticed that the schools, issue a report card. They describe the number of COVID cases they have. And I wanted to raise that to the board because I feel like I'm finding out about this late. I just think this is the kind of information that should be shared to the public. when it becomes known to the board. And wanted to put that statement on the record.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Jeff. And as you stated, we did have an outbreak within a particular workspace, and that's being addressed as per the protocols and action plans in place. And this very recently came to our attention. That's why you're only just finding out about it yourself. I think it really brings home the point that this is not the time to relax. For literally nearly a year, we had 0 cases of COVID within our town employees. There were a couple instances where employees, met with family over the holidays and then reported in that they were sick. But there is, with very little exception, there has been no transmission within the workspace. And, again, this is a clear example as to why you need to really be diligent and follow through with the safety protocols. We believe that they were not followed in this particular case, and that led to this infection and outbreak. So it's I think a really important reminder to make to everyone in the community that although vaccines are now being circulated and more widely available, testing is more widely available, this disease has not stopped and has not gone away. And we need to remain vigilant until we get a much larger percentage of the population vaccinated.
If I may, I just wanted to, I'm glad to hear that and have some discussion on this, because apparently this was a workspace spread incident. And it is true that I think part of the reason that it's important to tell the public is precisely because it will affect their point of view about what they should do and how they should behave. And particularly when the national experts are really strongly reminding people that even though vaccinations are well underway, there's a lot of virus circulating, which means there's a lot of opportunities for new versions of the virus to circulate. And we were talking on Tuesday. Couple of the council persons raised issues related to COVID and planning for COVID. And I think having this kind of information would have informed those discussions. And I do think it would suggest caution to the community. So I think it's important that when it happens, we get that information out promptly. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Jeff, because again, we cannot overemphasize how important it is to continue the safety protocols. And, we've undertaken an internal review, and we will be holding seminars, if you will, with town staff to make sure we reemphasize the importance of continuing with our safety protocols, that this is not the time to be casual about things. In fact, this is the time when it becomes most important. It's most dangerous because there is this sense that we're starting to put this behind us, but we really haven't yet. And it really requires continued diligence. I know that there's fatigue among everybody. We're just tired of this at this point, but we can't let our guard down. We've been very proactive with town employees and town staff to make sure that they have the information they need to make sure that safety protocols are in place. But, everybody has to continue to follow the safety protocols. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So, we'll be redoubling. We've already set up, I know Kathy's set up department head meetings with various departments to just go back over and make sure everybody's clear on what the protocols are and that staff are all following them. But for the broader public as well, this is not the time to be relaxed about COVID. This is the time really when we're probably most vulnerable, because there is this sense that we're making progress, but let's not relax just yet.
Yeah, and I just want to double up a little bit on that. It's a little bit wider view, but the Business Recovery Group works with Robert Ross from Southampton Hospital every week to find out information of what's happening. And so again, there's an increase at Southampton Hospital over the past week. It's by 2 folks. It went from 11 to 13. At one point it was 14 this past weekend. So they're seeing an increase and not a decrease, and that's troubling. So I think just piggybacking on what the supervisor just said, this is not a time to think it's okay. And to not have the protocols in place that we've had for the last year. So please remember that, and everybody stay safe. That's my biggest fear, and my our biggest job is to make sure that the people that are in East Hampton are safe.
We do have one other resolution here. It is ID 23909, and this is a 2021 Gerald Weinberg, PC, Attorneys at Law, for the process and services of appearance tickets. And that is at a cost of $15 plus $10 filing fee for a total of $25 per service.
Second.
Didn't we do that before? I remember this resolution.
Carol has brought this up.
We did one for a different department. We need to do
Okay.
the ordinance now.
So I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried. Any other resolutions or comments from board members? I would just like to say that again, there is a mass vaccination center that's been set up at Southampton College. If you go to Am I Eligible, Google that term, you'll see the New York site come up. You can follow those directions and set up a vaccination appointment. There are hundreds of appointments available starting at this point. I think the 23rd of April was the most recent, the closest date for those vaccinations. Even if you may have registered already with the town's registry, it's important that you seek an appointment. There are a number of people in the registry, and we're encouraging people to try to get the first scheduled appointment they can. We intend to try to continue to operate the town's site. It did fill a void when there was no vaccine out here on the South Fork at all and none in town. We'd like to keep running it, but we won't be able to run at the quantity of numbers that we're seeing next door in Southampton. The goal here is to get everybody vaccinated as soon as possible. So I encourage you to seek vaccination appointments as soon as you can, as they're available. And again, we may be sending out additional notices based on when we get allotments. Those allotments won't be as frequent or in as large quantities as we're seeing next door in the Southampton site. And that's all I have. And I want to thank everybody and stay safe out there.
We're going into exec session.
And we have exec session for what purposes?
Yep, I'll make a motion to go into exec session. I move to enter into exec session to discuss our litigation strategy in the case of Sunrise Tuthill, to discuss personnel and planning and parks department, and to receive advice from counsel.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passed and carried. Thanks very much, everyone. I'll send out the link immediately.
We're going to meet right away, right?
Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks
you.
very much.